Nation has some of the best energy-efficient windows out there. And right now, get 60% off a house full of windows. And for 2 years, you won't have to worry about a down payment, interest, or monthly payments until 2027. And get a free entry door when you buy a house full of windows. So don't overpay for expensive windows that may not be as good. Schedule a free estimate now with Window Nation. 866-90NATION or windownation.com.
When you want Chiefs, follow the leader. Sports Radio 810. WHB.
I don't have any problem with going to Brazil the first game of the year. I'm glad it's in the middle of the season. The night games are something the Chiefs are starting to get used to now.
The Chiefs were Cowboys-level assets. I mean, that's pretty much the highest praise you can have from an NFL marketing standpoint. You put them on both holiday games in 7 primetime games.
Your home for the NFL. Sports Radio 810. WHB.
This weekend, tune into Sports Radio 810 WHB to hear live play-by-play of the PGA Championship. Our coverage begins at 1 o'clock, live from Quail Hollow in Charlotte. Can Rory back up his big Masters win with a third PGA Championship victory? We'll have you covered all weekend long.
The long journey is over. McIlroy has his masterpiece.
It's the PGA Championship on America's largest all-sports radio station, Sports Radio 810 WHB.
KCFX HD4 Harrisonville, K279PI Kansas City, 103.7 FM. Sports Radio 810 WHB, Kansas City.
America's largest all-sports radio station presents the #1 motorsports show for over 2 decades, Track Talk, brought to you by Rod Supply and the Power Ride Midwest Lightning Sprints. Here are the racing boys, Scott Traylor and Kirk Elliott.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Track Talk here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. We're getting a little echo back there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And we'll get that taken care of. But in the meantime, we're happy to have everybody here with us here this morning. And after a big weekend at Kansas Speedway last weekend, that Kyle Larson dominated the race. Here we are.
Why are we talking about last weekend, Kirk?
Well, Larson didn't have as good a week at Indianapolis Motor Speedway as he did at Kansas Speedway. At least so far, with the practice sessions going on this week for the Indy cars. Shall we say that Kyle's had a couple of mishaps out there?
He's had two wrecks.
And we need to get the echo taken care of back there if we could, Jay, because we're getting a little bit of echo in our ear. Now I think we got it cleared up.
Right.
So anyway, Kyle, as dominant as he was in his NASCAR Cup Series stock car, not so good in the Indy car so far this week, as he attempts to make the double work with the Indianapolis 500 and the Coca-Cola 600 coming up next weekend. They're qualifying today and tomorrow. He won't, if he does go for the pole tomorrow, he won't be here to go for the pole because he's got to be in Charlotte or for North Wilkesboro for the All-Star race. So he won't be able to go for the pole because they've got the Fast 9 that comes back and goes for the pole. He'll miss that because of schedule because he's got to race the Cup car at North Wilkesboro. But
how many wrecks did he have this week?
We had 2 that I know of. Yesterday he spun out into the wall, hit both ends of the race car, and then earlier this week he had a little bit of a mishap as well, and he had a third crash. That was a couple of weeks ago at the open test. He got up into the wall, remember?
Right.
So the McLaren team, McLaren Aero IndyCar team, got a lot of work to do to get that car repaired so Kyle can go out and qualify today. So we'll be following that. That's probably the biggest story in racing that everybody's watching to see how Kyle Larson does. I think he had a chance for a top 5 finish last year until he sped on pit road, but then rains came and he wasn't able to get back to Charlotte in time to take any laps at all in his Cup car last year. So let's hope the weather cooperates this time around.
We're still getting a little bit of feedback from the station back here, Jay. If you could take care of that, brother, I appreciate it. I've got you turned down, so we must be getting some kind of feedback.
So anyway, we'll.
How about
try to
last
get that
night's
sorted
midget
out.
race, Kirk, at Belleville?
Yeah, let's talk about that.
There we go.
Justin Grant
Thank you.
winning at Belleville last night.
Winning number 5.
Cannon McIntosh probably not too pleased after Grant got into the back of him and turned him around there earlier in the race, but Justin said in his post-race victory interview that that couldn't have been helped. He just, Cannon was just in the wrong place at the wrong time, according to Justin Grant.
The 71X car.
Yeah. But Cannon was able to rally back to a fifth-place finish as Justin Grant was able to pull a nice slide job on Logan Seavey to pick up the lead and the victory.
Were you a little
Belleville.
surprised that Team Ez did as good as he did?
I was a little bit surprised. He hadn't been in a midget much. I'm not sure he'd been in a midget since the Chili Bowl.
Right.
He'd been racing 360 car. We've seen him up in Knoxville here for the last couple of weeks. So Team Ez rallies from 8th starting position to finish in second place at Belleville last night. They raced on the small track, the little track at Belleville, while we saw the Silver Crown cars on the big half mile.
That berm was pretty gnarly, wasn't it, Kirk?
It was, and it caught Blake Spicer, who hit that berm and went flipping off turn number 3 out onto the big track. He was okay. That happened with about 11 laps to go in that race. So that was probably the biggest incident outside of the one where Grant got into Cannon McIntosh.
And Drake brought out the yellow as well.
Yeah, Cale Drake. So the feature finish last night had Justin Grant the winner, Team Ez coming from 8th to 2nd, Kevin Thomas Jr. 3rd, Steven Snyder, and Cannon McIntosh rallies back from the back of the field after getting turned around, ends up 5th. Logan Seavey, he's got to be disappointed about the way he ran last night. And the Abacus car, he finished in 6th place after starting on the pole. So I'm sure that they're not very happy at all about their performance in their midget. And, of course, Logan is also in a Silver Crown car. They'll be there tonight running. Silver Crown
They're
cars.
They're going to run on the big track.
On the big track.
Right.
Those cars had 3 sessions of practice last night. They'll qualify tonight and then have their race after the midgets run tonight. So we'll see the midgets on the little track and the Silver Crown cars on the big track tonight.
I'm thinking about going up to Knoxville tonight.
There you go. I'm thinking about going to Belleville. So we're going to have it all covered tonight.
Right.
Brian Brown won last week at Knoxville. We're going to hear from Brian a little bit later on in the hour from an interview that we had with him on our Mostly Motorsports show earlier in the week. And also we've got Kaylee Bryson coming up. She won the Silver Crown race at Belleville last year, becoming the first woman to win a national USAC race. She's back to defend the win that she had a year ago. We'll hear from Kaylee Bryson coming up here a little bit.
And Matt Covington as well.
And he won a big race. First
right.
ASCS National Tour win in a long time for Matt Covington last week at Paducah.
How many races had that been, Kirk?
What did they say, 47?
47 races.
2023 was his last National Tour win. Of course, Matt Covington won a USCS race earlier this year down in Florida, I believe it was.
Right.
And so Matt Covington, another one of our guests coming up during the show this morning. Got a lot of racing to talk about. Sprint cars. The World of Outlaws are in Canada.
Kirk, we talk about sprint cars probably more than we do anything else, don't we?
I think so. We like the sprint cars.
Right.
World of Outlaws at Ohsweken Speedway on Wednesday and Thursday night, and David Gravel swept both nights at Ohsweken.
I want to give a shout-out to Jack Wagner, who picked up the win up at US 36 Raceway last night.
That race happened after midnight last night up at US 36.
I'm glad we didn't go, Kurt.
Well, we would have got a short night of sleep had we gone last night, because I don't think it got the green flag until after midnight. I'd gone to bed, and it still hadn't gone out on the track yet when I checked my race pass last night. But congratulations to Jack Wagner. He's on a roll. He wins the race up at US 36 Raceway last night, the Power I War and Midwest Wingless Racing Association combo event, the Challenge Series, they call it.
I'm so glad I didn't go to that race last night.
Well, because it was so late
right
last night. They had a lot of support classes last night. But Wagner started third in the Hockett 77. Braden Cromwell ends up second. Jeff Ensign third. Wyatt Burks and Wesley Smith rounds out the top 5 at US 36 Raceway last night. So congratulations to Jack Wagner. We had him on our show
How many
here a couple
cars
of weeks ago.
Did they have up there last night, Kirk?
It looks like they had 20 non-wing sprint cars up there last night. Looks like that's what they ended up with.
Right.
I can tell you, we had, looks like they may have had more than that. 26 race, looks like they had close to 26 race cars.
That's a pretty good car count.
Yeah. Let's see, 9 and 17, 25. Looks like they had 25, Scott. 25 non-wing sprint cars at US 36 Raceway. Also, the other big event that's going on this weekend here in the Midwest is the Lucas Oil Late Model Series at Eagle Raceway with the High Bank Nationals. They're going for $50,000 to win tonight at Eagle Raceway. And last night, Jonathan Davenport comes up with the feature victory. Hudson O'Neill ends up in second place at Eagle Raceway last night.
Kyle Bronson ended up running third, and Brandon Shepard ended up running fourth, and Garrett Alberson ended up running fifth.
And Ricky Thornton Jr. won on Thursday night. He had a little problem last night, RTJ, didn't he? He spun out.
He did.
So tonight, we're going to have our eyes at Eagle Raceway with $50,000 to win. Of course, this is a prelude to the big weekend at Lucas Oil Speedway next weekend. The Show Me 100 will happen next Thursday, Friday, and Saturday of next weekend. And Scott,
it pays $75,000 to win.
That is big news.
It is.
That is a big jump in the pay at the Show Me 100. $75,000 to win a week from tonight at Lucas Oil Speedway. So we're
Are you going to go down there, Kirk?
Planning on it. Yeah, I love going to the Show Me 100. They got the Cowboy.
Maybe I should get the RV up there.
Well, you can make that decision. You're the head. You're in charge of the RV. It's up at Knoxville right now.
Right.
You probably want to stay in it tonight since you're planning on going to Knoxville, right?
Right.
So the Cowboy Classic is next Thursday.
I need to take the truck up there.
You probably do if you want to bring the RV back.
Right.
So that would probably be the thing to do if you're wanting to go to Lucas Oil Speedway next weekend.
Maybe there's a Clear Light Hotel. Maybe.
I doubt if you're going to get a room there. It's probably sold out.
Right.
I would guess. So getting back to Lucas Oil Speedway next weekend, Cowboy Classic on Thursday night, the salute to Don and Billy Gibson on Friday night. Each of those events paid $10,000 to win. Saturday nights, a record $75,000 to win. Next weekend should be a great weekend of racing. And tonight, we'll see what happens at Eagle Raceway. It's a much different racetrack than Lucas Oil Speedway. But Hudson O'Neill looks like he is probably a favorite to win down at Lucas Oil Speedway based on that non-sanctioned late model event they had down there a few weeks back. You remember he swept the weekend down there. Jonathan Davenport's always good at Lucas Oil Speedway. And so we'll see what happens Jonathan Davenport won last year at the Show Me 100. 2 years ago, it was Devin Moran handed the win after Ricky Thornton Jr. failed the post-race inspection. You remember that?
Right.
So we should see a great weekend of dirt late model racing next weekend at Lucas Oil Speedway. And tonight, Eagle Raceway, $50,000.
Who do you think is the favorite to win that race, Kurt?
I would say either Hudson O'Neal or Jonathan Davenport, and of course Ricky Thornton Jr. You got to throw him into the mix as well. So, and it's an open weekend. The World of Outlaws are not going up against Lucas Oil next weekend. So who knows? Who else might show up next weekend? World of Outlaws are out in Pennsylvania this weekend. Tim McCready won the other night. They got rained out last night.
Ricky Thornton Jr., you can't count him out either.
Hell no.
Right.
So RTJ, he can't spin out like he did last night, though. Got to keep it going the right direction.
He spun out last night.
So it's, I think you've got 3 or 4 guys that are favorites to win down there at Lucas Oil Speedway next weekend. We just pointed them out. Jonathan Davenport, Ricky Thornton Jr., Hudson O'Neal, or be my 3 biggest favorites to win at Lucas Oil next weekend.
Would be a good call as well.
And Devin Moran. You can't count him out either.
Right.
So anyway, we're into the late model world here over the next couple of weekends, beginning with tonight's finale at the High Bank Nationals at Eagle Raceway. Also, we got the Silver Crown and USAC cars at Belleville, Knoxville racing tonight. And World of Outlaws are not back in action as far as the sprint cars are concerned until tomorrow night at Cornwall. They've got last night and tonight off after racing at Oswego Wednesday and Thursday. And the High Limit Series in action tonight. And this is something we haven't talked about yet. High Limit Racing was at Ransomville, New York last night, and Justin Peck comes through with the win. You remember he finished third at Lakeside last week, and he had another third-place finish at Tri-City on Saturday night. He got beat out at the wire at Kokomo by Rico earlier this week by an eyelash. That was like a photo finish. That Peck led the whole way and then got nipped at the wire by Rico.
That was probably the best race of the week, wasn't it, Kurt?
I'd say so.
Yeah.
That was a great race. But I think Justin Peck feels a sort of redemption after winning that race last night at Ransomville, New York, would you say?
I would agree with that.
Holding off Tyler Courtney, Aaron Reitzel ends up in third. Reitzel had second place until he got beat at the line by Sunshine there. Rico ends up fourth, and Danny Varon, fifth. Local guy, finished fifth at Ransomville, New York. They'll be at Utica Rome Speedway tonight for the Kubota High Limit Racing Series. So that kind of covers most of the action around the country last night over the last few days.
Hey, Kirk, I know you didn't want to bring it up, but your nephew, he flipped last night.
Yeah, they had the IMCA stock car race
right
after the feature event at Eagle last night, and
he got upside down.
Dennis Elliott, my nephew, was racing for position last night and got the car sideways and up into the cushion, up in the loose stuff up high, and over it went. Glad he's okay.
Man, they just had another.
But there's a lot of damage on that car.
Well, it kind of looked like it after a lot of damage was fixed earlier in the week. So glad Dennis is okay after that. But that was an incident. It was a great finish to that race at the end of it all, though. That incident happened with about 3 laps to go in the race last night. But the finish of that race was exciting as Shane Stutzman beat Kyle Vanover at the wire to win the IMCA stock car feature at Eagle Raceway last night. I think they paid $1,000 to win, so
right.
Pretty good money. They had 39 of those cars last night. By the way, they had a good number of stock cars at US 36 Raceway last night as well. You see those numbers?
Right.
I think they, I'm not sure exactly what they paid at US 36 Raceway last night, but that was a pretty good number of stock cars up there, the USRA branded stock cars. And as I looked at the results from last night up at US 36 Raceway, it was Shane Weddingle coming through. Actually, it was Austin Buzak. I was looking at the wrong list. Austin Buzak won the feature after starting 12th. Rodney Schweitzer finished in second place in the USRA stock cars. They had 30 of those cars up there last night.
Heavy rains canceled the World of Outlaw late models action last night.
They were supposed to be, after Tim McCready won at Marion, the Thursday night.
Marion Center, PA.
Marion Center, PA. I think Raceway 7 is where Tim McCready won on Thursday night. The Marion Center was supposed to be where they were racing last night, got rained out.
Man, they're already crashing at Indy this morning, guys. Marcus
Armstrong.
Marcus Armstrong. Let's show that wreck.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Kyle
put
Larson.
Well, I'll pull the Kyle Larson up, but this just happened just a second ago. Look at this car; it's just destroyed.
They're tearing up a lot of equipment this week at Indy.
Yeah,
and high winds had something to do with that.
Yeah, so this just happened. This just got posted 19 minutes ago. He destroyed this car going into. They'll show it here when he comes into this corner. Man, he was. I mean, I hope you know. Here we go. I'll pull it up right here. There we are.
So we're taking a look at it. Those of
just,
you watching online
just snapped around on him, man.
Snapped around on him.
And, man, he just destroyed that car, guys. That thing's not like
junk.
Larson's. This is junk. Larson's, they acted like they put a new nose clip and repair a couple, suspension stuff. But this here car is gone. This has happened 19 minutes ago, guys. So they just posted this here on Indy. Appreciate Indy posting this on their homepage. This is on their page. So.
And so they'll begin the qualifying here coming up a little bit later on.
Larson acted like he'd be fine with that. The track would be a lot cooler. He wasn't really worried. He didn't seem flustered at all when he got out. They interviewed him.
The track was hot and slick, and it was windy.
But, man, look at that impact, man. That's just oof.
That was a tough one.
That's a tough one for bright and early on a Saturday morning, right? Hey, we got a lot of people checking in from Indy right now. We got a couple people already listening and watching, and Marie's listening to it, watching it, and I think my cousin's out there on the infield. So everybody.
Looks like the Penske cars are the ones to beat so far.
Absolutely.
Practice time. Scott McLaughlin turned the fastest lap yesterday of 233.954 miles an hour. You got Joseph Newgarden going for his third straight Indy 500. Nobody's done that before. Nobody has won the Indy 500 3 years in a row. And so we'll see if Joseph Newgarden can pull off that feat. And it looks like he's got a fast enough car to do it, too. Alex Palou for Ganassi Racing has been on fire in the road courses. So we'll see how he does as well. So qualifying today at Indy. Looking forward to seeing it all. Fox has got the coverage now, don't they? It's not on NBC anymore.
That's right.
Fox
has got it.
All right, when we come back, Kaylee Bryson is going to be up next here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. It's all brought to you by Track Talk is brought to you by Rod End Supply, featuring the POWRi Midwest Lightning Sprints. Kaylee Bryson up next here on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Track Talk. Rod End Supply is involved with a variety of motorsports as well as industrial applications with many different types of products. Since 1989, Rod End Supply has provided superior products priced competitively. Whether you're
You guys got 2 minutes after this spot. 2 minutes.
10-4.
Supplies an assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products to keep your equipment moving. Rod End Supply's experienced staff is ready and willing to help you with your needs. Their promise is to continue to provide a superior product with superior service so you can stay in front of the field no matter what it is. To learn more, go to rodendsupply.com.
Stephen St. John here. Is your lawn ready to be the envy of the neighborhood? Custom Lawn and Landscape makes achieving a green, weed-free lawn easy with their expert 7-step fertilization and weed control program. With over 40 years of experience serving Johnson County, they're excited to now be serving Lawrence and all of Kansas City as well. And here's the best part. Get your first application absolutely free. Call Custom Lawn today or visit CustomLawn.com to claim your free application and get started. Custom Lawn and Landscape, because beautiful lawns don't happen by accident.
The border war continues as Kansas and Missouri high school football athletes play for state line bragging rights. The 33rd annual DM Law Kansas versus Missouri high school football all-star game will be played on Friday, June 6th at Liberty High School in Liberty, Missouri. All tickets are $10 at the gate, or purchase your tickets in advance at kcprepfootball.org. That's kcprepfootball.org. See the metro area's best high school football players compete for bragging rights. Get advance tickets today at kcprepfootball.org.
Say I. 1 minute left, gentlemen. 1 minute.
Farm just outside of Branson and Springfield off 65 and State Highway EE. This romantic, intimate venue reflects nature's beauty and overlooks the family-owned Wheeler Garden, a beautiful backdrop for any wedding, celebration, family reunion for groups up to 100. For a family vacation or golf and fishing trip, stay at our farmhouse Airbnb. Simple, affordable, memorable. It's all on our website, venueatthefarm.com.
The 2025 lake season is finally here, and Reno's Power Sports KC is your summer headquarters. Come to Reno's Power Sports for Watercraft Week starting May 20th and lasting through May 31st. Take advantage of blowout deals on all Yamaha Wave Runners and Sea-Doo Sparks with savings of up to $4,000 on select models and dealer invoice pricing on trailers. Don't wait. Lake life is calling, and these deals won't last long.
Right now, score low-interest financing or huge rebates on aged inventory while supplies last.
Reno's Power Sports KC, where the lake life begins.
Welcome back to Track Talk. It's all brought to you by Rod End Supply, featuring the POWRi Midwest Lightning Sprints. Kaylee Bryson is up next. Kirk?
She won last year's Silver Crown race at Belleville High Banks. She's going to try to come do it again. She was the first ever lady to win a USAC National Tour event a year ago. That was pretty exciting to watch. Brady Bacon really had them all covered, if you remember last year. Blew an engine
right
while leading the race. Kaylee was able to take advantage of all that and hold off C.J. Leary to win. Earlier this week, we spoke with Kaylee Bryson about her Silver Crown racing and all the other racing that she's got going on right now. Let's hear part of that conversation. Kaylee Bryson became the first woman to win a USAC National Tour event just about a year ago at the Belleville High Banks. I was over there watching that race. You know, Brady Bacon was mopping up the field until he blew an engine, but Kaylee Bryson was right there to take advantage of it and win that race at Belleville. And guess what? They're going back to Belleville this weekend. Kaylee Bryson is third in Silver Crown points right now. She's joining us right now. Kaylee, welcome to the show. And, man, you know, almost a year after that, that certainly stands out. It's got to be the biggest win of your career, does it not?
Yeah, it definitely is, and thanks for having me on the show. But, yeah, I've worked really hard for a long time to come up with that win, along with the team behind me. We've put a lot of effort in, a lot of hard work behind the scenes, and it was cool to get our first win at Belleville.
Belleville is a different animal, isn't it? It's high speed, isn't it? You're getting it around that racetrack, aren't you?
Yeah, for sure. And that's, you know, I grew up, you know, racing dirt, racing micros and midgets and stuff like that. So to come up to a half mile, I feel pretty comfortable there. It's a really fast half mile. So, you know, it really kind of goes back to my roots and how I grew up and the style of racing that I grew up doing. So it was a really fun night.
About that race last year, C.J. Leary, I remember, he was hot on your heels right there. What were you thinking about in the last few laps of that race, trying to get the win?
Yeah, well, we have spotters, so we have radio communication. So I have a guy up in the tower talking to me, telling me, where the traffic is, what the lines are. And, I was the first half of the race, I was running all the way around the top, and it started getting, really edgy, and there was a huge curve. And so I started running a little bit below it, just trying to, play it safe. And CJ Leary started reeling me in, and the spotter got on the radio and said, all right, it's time to dig now. You need to move up and run the car as hard as you can. And that's what we did, and came out on top.
Well, I got to tell you, it's I've not seen a lot of Silver Crown racing in my life, and I've been there the last 2 years to Belleville, and that has to be one of the most thrilling experiences I think I've ever seen in racing, to watch it's got a throaty sound, these Silver Crown cars, and to watch those cars go around. A couple of years ago, it was Bacon and Justin Grant that got into it, and Grant got up into the fence. And there was a bigger crowd last year, and it was still as thrilling as the year before. Just, I know you've had success on the big mile track. You almost won that race. I think, what was that, Springfield a couple of years ago?
Springfield, yeah.
Yeah, it looked like you were going to win that race. But what is it about the Silver Crown cars that stands out above even the sprint cars and the midgets?
Silver Crown's just, it's got a lot of history, and at the same time, like, you've got the midgets and the sprint cars, and all of the talent comes from the sprint cars, and the guys are really good. You've got like the Justin Grant, the Seeley, the Bacons, the Learys, like all the guys that get to run all three series, and they're racing a lot and they're really competitive. They've brought that into the Silver Crown, and I feel like Silver Crown over the last 5 years has gotten really popular again. It's gotten a lot of younger and drivers coming up through the ranks, and the style is just really fun. Like, I would say the midgets and the sprint cars is a little bit more wild, and you're driving it harder. And I would say the Silver Crown car is a little bit more of a, preserving your car. You got to save tires. It's, 50 laps, 100 laps, as opposed to the other series. It's like 30 laps apiece. So there's a lot more that goes into, the preparation of the car and managing towards the end of the race, because you're not going, 110% the first lap out.
Talk about the speed of going around Belleville. How about that?
The first time I went there, everybody told me that they had numbers in the corners, because some people would get mixed up as to what corner they were in. I never had that issue, but it was just something fun that everybody always told me. But it's pretty quick. I mean, we're going 140 around Belleville, and it's a big half mile, but it's almost like a circle. You're almost turning the whole time. You're never really getting straightened out in the straightaways, because it's almost a big circle half mile.
You've been at Terre Haute. You opened up the season, like a 8th place finish at Terre Haute. Then you were on pavement at Toledo. You're currently tied for 3rd in points right now. Justin Grant is the points leader right now. Just talk about going from pavement to dirt in these cars and how big of a challenge that is.
It was at first. My first year running pavement, I didn't have a whole lot of experience, so it's hard to go out and race against guys like Swanson and Santos and try and pull off a win, because they're so talented. But I've learned so much racing with them, and we've gotten so much closer into closing that gap. And, even at Toledo, we qualified 3rd, and we were a 10th off of Cody, which is, one of the hardest things I've tried to overcome learning the pavement side of things, is just keeping up with the fast guys. And you're rolling fast, but these guys are so competitive on pavement. Just keeping up with them is one of the biggest learning curves, and I feel like we're right there on their heels now, and we've got a shot to win one this year.
And you were supposed to go to Winchester, and that race got postponed. That's a high bank half-mile paid racetrack as well. Well, let's talk about this weekend. You're going to go back and try to defend the win that you had a year ago. What's going to be different this time around?
I'm just trying to go into it as another race, and obviously we know that we can win there, so we have that confidence going in, but we've just got to execute all night long. It's not an easy job, because you are racing against the guys that run sprint cars all year long and midgets, and they're in the car a little bit more than I am, so it's never an easy challenge, but I know that we've got the car to do it, and we've done it before, so that's just a little bit of peace of mind for us.
And what is the sometimes they have self-starters on these cars. Sometimes you got to push them off. I think you had the self-starters at Belleville, did you not?
Yeah. We start the engine. They have like a little machine that connects to the front of the engine, and we're able to start it. And that's one of the cool things about the Silver Crown series is we're the only series that does that. All the other cars have to get pushed off, but we all start there, and they do the start your engine command, and that's pretty cool. The fans love that.
And you'll have the qualifying on Friday and then the race on Saturday.
Yeah.
How's the schedule work out this weekend?
Yeah, so they'll have midgets there as well. So I
Yeah.
do believe that the midgets are going to do a full schedule on Friday, but we'll practice and qualify Friday night, and then Saturday we'll come into our 50-lap feature.
What else you been racing? I know you were in the Trans Am, or what else were you been doing?
Yeah, so this year is going to look a little bit different. So I'm doing the Trans Am series this year with the XGT class. I'm going to race quite a bit at Knoxville with Clint Gardner in a 360.
Oh,
and
really?
I've never done that, so that's a totally new scene for me. I've never been to Knoxville and raced at Knoxville, but we're going to try and do the Nationals and have some fun wing racing this year. So I'm trying quite a bit of different things. I'll jump in the midget a few times, I'm sure, like Chili Bowl and BC39, and a little bit of wing sprint car pavement racing as well. So I'm getting a lot of experience this year with a wing on top.
You know, the Racing Boys did the broadcast down there at the Chili Bowl for 16 years. Talk about that a little bit, the Chili Bowl.
Yeah, you were the first woman to qualify for an A main at the Chili Bowl. We were there for that.
Yeah, we were. That was a really fun race, and there's so much competition. I mean, there's so many cars that enter, so it's not an easy job at all. I mean, each night there's 80 cars, and you're racing from Monday to Sunday. So it's really cool that we went there and made the show, and we did it 2 years in a row. It's just a really awesome race. There's so many fans there. There's so many cars. It's just a really awesome event in the middle of winter.
Do you set long-term goals for yourself of where you'd like to see yourself in another 5 or 10 years, or you just live in the moment and try to do what you can and in the moment and let the rest of it take care of itself?
A little bit of both. I try not to stress about what's going to happen tomorrow. I try and live and enjoy where I'm at right now because I'm pretty fortunate. I get to race for a living, and I'm not working a 9 to 5. I'm racing and I'm selling T-shirts and I'm trying to make a name for myself, and it's a lot of fun. Not a lot of people get to say that they do that and get to race for a living. I know I'm living a lot of people's dreams, and I'm pretty fortunate that I get to do what I love.
Hey, talk about the team that you're driving, the Silver Crown car.
Yeah, so I got my start in Silver Crown with the same team I'm driving for, which is really cool. So we've been together since the beginning, but I drive for AP Driver Development and Sam Pierce Chevrolet, and we have a really good relationship, and I live only 40 minutes from the shop, so I'm here all the time and hanging out with the guys, so we all have a really good relationship. We have a lot of fun racing, and really looking forward to seeing how the rest of the season goes.
That is important, isn't it, to be with the team and be there while the cars are being worked on, isn't it?
It is, yeah, and just having a good relationship with the crew guys and the owners, it definitely makes the weekend and racing a whole lot more fun.
So last night they had practice at Belleville, 3 sessions of practice for the Silver Crown cars, and Kaylee Bryson was she was 8th in that number 2 practice session. That's where had most of them out there, and in the first practice session, she was 7th. So 7th in the first practice session, 8th in the second practice session. Not too many came out for the third session. But Justin Grant has, looks like the fastest car. Brady Bacon right there with Jake Swanson, Mitchell Moles, Chase Stockens, C.J. Leary, along with Kaylee Bryson, looked to be the favorites. They had 13 cars at Belleville. So we'll keep an eye on the qualifying before they come out to race tonight. And that'll be on the big half mile at Belleville. Kaylee Bryson joining us. You can hear that whole interview on our podcast section on RacingBoys.com.
That was episode 360, guys, if you're needing to find that.
Kyle Larson just turned a lap at 229.7. Newgarden turned a lap of 233. And Rosenquist turned a lap at 234.
And they're practicing right now. They
Right.
won't start qualifying until 10 o'clock this morning, 10 o'clock until 5 our time today. And then tomorrow they'll have the top 12 go for the pole. The top 12 in the qualifying today will go for the pole tomorrow at noon, and then they'll have we'll find out who wins the pole position for the Indianapolis 500 tomorrow.
Right.
And Kyle Larson will not be going for the pole because he's got to go to North Wilkesboro for the All-Star race. He won't be qualifying that car today, but he's got to be there for the race tomorrow.
Is he going to do the double dip?
Well, the Indy 500 is before the Coca-Cola 600. But here's the difference. They ain't going to give him the kind of waiver that he got last year. You remember he wasn't able to even get in his Cup car after Indianapolis because of the rain.
Right.
And that caused a lot of controversy, if you remember. A lot of people were upset about him granted the waiver to win the championship. Well, this year, there's no question Kyle's got to get back to Charlotte to start that 600 no matter what happens, even if he's got to pull out of the race. Now, here's the crazy part about it. What if he's leading the Indy 500 and he's got to go? You know, if they get a late start, if it's raining, the race starts late and get to about 50 laps to go and Kyle Larson is leading, but he's got to leave the race early in order to get to Charlotte in time to start that race. What are they going to do then? How hard is it going to be to pull him out of the race if he's leading or running up front, even if he's running in the top 5 like he was last year?
Right.
But he's got to get back to Charlotte to start that race or it's going to cost him a
lot
chance
of points
to go for the championship.
Right.
So can't have like they had last year because they've changed the rules of that waiver this year. So it's not going to be as easy for him to be granted that waiver this time as it was a year ago. So be interesting to watch. Let's just hope the weather cooperates and they don't have to worry about it. But we'll see what happens. Hey, I just want to remind everybody that the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum has the Salute to Manzanita Speedway open now. It opened on the 1st of May. It'll be open till October 1st, and it has a great display of a lot of the cars that ran at Manzanita Speedway in Phoenix, Arizona. That track closed in about 2008. Jesse Hockett won the last sanctioned race there.
He did.
And so it's a legendary racetrack in Phoenix, and a lot of history is now being on display at the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame. Check it out. If you're going through races tonight, head to the Hall of Fame and check out the display. It'll be open until the 1st of October. And just a reminder, the Corvette giveaway is well underway right now. You can register to sign up for the 2025 competition yellow Corvette, the ZR1 with the ZTK performance package, 1,064 horsepower, powerful car. You can win it. All you got to do is go to winacorvette.org to get registered. And just got the news the other day, Scott, that they're taking entries now for the sprint car giveaway that is not this December, but next December at the Hall of Fame. You remember they do that every other year.
Right.
They just gave away a sprint car up there last December. Well, they just put out the word that you can register for the sprint car giveaway at the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame that will be drawn for in December of 2026. So what you got to do about that is go to the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame website. And, of course, they've got a lot of great sponsors that are involved in that. Go to sprintcarhof.com or go to their Facebook page for more information. And while you're at the Hall of Fame, check out the gift shop. If you want to see all the items in the gift shop, go to sprintcarstuff.com. National Sprint Car Hall of Fame Museum opens 7 days a week.
I think I'm going to go up there tonight, Kurt.
Absolutely. Go up there and check out the races.
It's a 4-hour drive.
And we're a couple of weeks out from the induction ceremony at the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame. That's on May the 31st, and that same weekend, the non-wing USAC sprint cars. So we're 2 weeks away from the non-wing USAC sprint cars racing at Knoxville.
Right. Kyle Larson's got a 35-point lead over William Byron.
He took the lead in the regular season standings after that beatdown last weekend at Kansas Speedway. How about that?
He led 221 laps at 267 laps.
You know, I was thinking about that race, you know, after we talked about it on Monday. You know, if it was a snoozer, yeah, if all you're watching was the leader, yeah, it'd get pretty boring. But you know what? I sat up there in the grandstands on Sunday, and there was some pretty good racing throughout the field. You ain't go see it if you watched on TV.
Right.
Fox didn't show it, but if you were there in person,
it was a snoozer.
Well, if you watched on Fox, it was, but you were sitting in the grandstands. I watched some pretty good racing going on throughout the rest of the field. The restarts were still pretty wild. We still saw 4 and sometimes even 5 wide on those restarts, so I was still entertained. But if you were just focused on the leader all day long, you were going to be bored.
Right.
But there was plenty of racing going on throughout the rest of the field, I thought.
All right. Track Talk is brought to you by Rod End Supply, featuring the POWRi Midwest Lightning Sprints. When we come back, Blackjack Brian Brown joins us next here on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Track Talk. Rod End Supply is involved with a variety of motorsports as well as industrial applications with many different types of products. Since 1989, Rod End Supply has provided superior products priced competitively. Whether you're racing at the circle track or drag strip, rock climbing, or going off-road, Rod End Supply has an assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products to keep your equipment moving. Rod End Supply's experienced staff is ready and willing to help you with your needs. Their promise is to continue to provide a superior product with superior service so you can stay in front of the field no matter what it is. To learn more, go to rodendsupply.com.
At Aristocrat Motors, come get you.
2.5 minutes, gentlemen. 2.5 minutes.
10-4.
Now, you deserve luxury, top-of-the-line customer service, and a car you can depend on. Drive in style this year with your choice of 6 different brands, all on one campus. Who else can say that? Aristocrat Motors, I-35 and Shawnee Mission Parkway, or shop us online at aristocratmotors.com.
The Sporting Kansas City season is here, and you can tune in to all Sporting KC coverage exclusively on Sports Radio 810 WHB. You can catch all of the live broadcasts, interviews, and more right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Brought to you by Greenlight Dispensary. Make sure to check out greenlightdispensary.com for all premium cannabis products. The best cannabis deals are always at greenlightdispensary.com. Go Sporting!
Does your website boost your business like it should? A business needs a complete online strategy. Digital Lagoon has been providing new or refreshed websites, social media campaigns, targeted ads, and website search optimization since 1995. Union Broadcasting has trusted Digital Lagoon for our website and printing needs. They created the website for our sister station, ESPN 1510, and we couldn't be more pleased. Give Jordan a call and let him provide a free analysis of your digital footprint. Contact him at digitallagoon.com today.
As a paramedic, do you recommend seatbelts?
I'm definitely an advocate for seatbelts.
Why?
When you're in a wreck, the seatbelt immediately will lock you in place and hold you exactly where you are. And if the vehicle rolls, spins, or just sustains a lot of force, you're going to stay right where you are, protected and cushioned. That's how they're designed.
But it's my choice if I wear one. You can't make me.
It's your decision, but you're going to see me if you decide to not wear your seatbelt, and it might not be a good situation for you.
Always buckle up. A message from the Kansas Department of Transportation and your local law enforcement community.
Sporting KC continues their run on the road as they head west on Saturday for the first ever meeting with San Diego FC. In their inaugural season, San Diego are off to a hot start near the top of the Western Conference, but Sporting KC will look to slow them down as they round out their road stretch. It's Sporting KC versus San Diego FC this Saturday with kickoff at 9:30 p.m. Central, and you can catch all the action right here as it's brought to you on Sports Radio 810 WHB by Blue Cross Blue Shield and Central Bank of the Midwest.
Welcome back to Track Talk here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Don't forget, hour number 2 is exclusively on Facebook, YouTube, and racerboys.com. Jimmy says the lake is rocking.
Now, what are you talking about there? The lake.
He's at the Lake of the Ozarks.
Oh, Lake Ozarks. Okay.
Right.
What about Lake Ozark Speedway? Is it rocking?
It's not rocking.
No.
Not this morning, probably not.
Not today. Last week, Brian Brown wins his 67th feature event of his career at the Knoxville Raceway. He's second to his uncle Danny Lasalski up there, you know. And Brownie, that was quite a comeback from Lakeside Speedway. Lakeside last Friday night, not so good. He didn't qualify that well and didn't have a good night at all. So, but what a turnaround the following night at Knoxville.
Do you think he's going to catch the dude?
No.
No?
Yeah, dude's too far ahead.
Right.
Dude's the all-time winner and will be for as long as you and I are alive. But Brown will be number 2.
Right.
That ain't bad.
That ain't too bad.
So earlier this week, we spoke with Brian Brown on our Mostly Motorsports show, and let's hear part 1 of that conversation.
Brownie, you picked up the win up at Knoxville this weekend. How about that?
A little bit of a disappointing result on Friday, and then, like I said, just that's what our team does, just bounces back, and really had a good, solid night, you know, there on Saturday. We have had a couple nights prior where we've gotten the wrecks and things like that. It just kind of hinders your progress, but we had a good, solid night from start to finish, and like I said, just had a good car in the A main there and was able to get the win.
You know, that was your 67th win at Knoxville. And I know that was the 50th for Chad as well.
Yeah, that's we had talked about that a little while back, and we just haven't haven't been able to win there. So that was cool to be able to get that for him. You know, I think 49 of those are with me, and he had one with Ayrton. So so it was cool to get that for him. Also, he works very, very hard and dedicates a lot of his life to our race team. So when you do stuff like that, you want to be able to give them the results they want also. So it was good to do that. He's a great crew chief, great leader for our team, and it was great to get him his 50th win also there.
How was the track the other night? How was it?
It's always good there. I mean, everybody knows what you're kind of going to get when you go to Knoxville. You get, the Duncans do a phenomenal job, and it's going to, you're going to get a couple lanes of passing no matter what. If your car is good enough, you can make it work on different parts of the track. And like I said, just their track prep and really the whole thing from the racetrack to the fair board to the track prep to everything's top notch there. And like I said, it's always going to be a great track. It could be different every single night, which is fine, but you're going to get a track that if your car is good enough and the driver's good enough, you can definitely pass cars.
Are you going to run full-time up at Knoxville this year?
No, we won't run there full-time. There's a couple big events later in the year here at the Kings Royal and things like that. I'm not sure what I'll do after this week there. I would love to go back to the Bob Weicker Memorial at Port Royal. We'll just have to look at the weather. The weather's obviously very important. You don't want to drive 20 hours and get rained out. So, no, we're not committed to run there full time, but we'll be there, 70%, 60% of the time. And, like I said, it's, when, there's obviously a big race there in August and, everything we can do. We're probably going to run there more this year than we've had in the past just because of the way the schedule's worked out. But, yeah, we like going there as much as we can, and like I said, hopefully just keep building on our notebook there. And every single year you go there, your notes only get you so far, and then things are always different with the tires and the track and things like that. So you kind of got to stay in your box, but you got to kind of deviate a little bit, based on past experience, and that's where you got to be kind of a Swiss Army knife and make changes when we need them. And we made some good changes there, Saturday after the heat race. And obviously, I think that was a key component for us to win on Saturday night.
Hey, Brian, congratulations on the win.
Thanks,
it looked like he was a little dicey getting around a couple of lap cars on that last lap. You had Emerson Axum making a late charge there. What about that last lap? Getting those last 2 lap cars cleared.
Yeah, I had been watching, obviously with 6 laps to go, you're probably going to catch the back half of the field. And I just, with about 2 to go, I'd been watching, and they were kind of being, one on the bottom and one in the middle, and they were having a really good race themselves. And I didn't want to disturb the race they were having. And then I got coming down the backstretch, coming around for the white flag. I went down into turn 3, and the guy that was running the middle just decided to change his mind and run the top.
Right.
So it kind of disturbed my air a little bit and kind of got me a little bit tight and, center the corner off. And then I kind of come down the hill and, the white flag's there and they're running too wide. And you just don't really want to push the issue, but you need to push the issue. And you don't know how close Emerson is. So kind of just had to split them there and just, prayed they held their line, which they did. And I just want to get through and just get that thing home and get the win. But, yeah, it's hard sometimes when you're leading those races and you feel like your car's pretty good, and then you get the traffic and you kind of move around a little bit and you kind of just kind of watch, you're using the lap cars as kind of your guide of, okay, am I on the right part of the track still? Or is there anything that, they better than me in any part of the track? And then the yellow comes out and you see Emerson, he started, I think 5th or 6th. So, he's passed some good cars to get there. So, you don't really know. So you're just, a lot goes through your head when you're riding around there under yellow of just, you don't want to get that far to not get that far. And I think, you got to, I kind of moved my line there on the last couple laps there in 1 and 2. And I think that probably won us the race. And like I said, Emerson's a good driver. He's very young, very talented. And, I really think at Knoxville, even this year, I mean, I like the talent, with Austin and Kerry Madsen and Scott Boguski, and then, Ryan Timms the other week. That just, I think the talent is very high there right now, which is good. Just pushes us all to be better and gets us prepared when the Outlaws and the other guys come to town.
Hey, Austin McCarl had some wing damage. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I didn't know, obviously, when I was racing what was going on, but like when they had a red there on I think the 6th or 7th lap, and I could hear them talking a little bit on the PA system about him having wing trouble. And then as I was riding around there on the yellow, I could look up at the impact scoreboard and see they were showing his wing. And I think he had wing trouble on Friday night too. I think it blew back in a heat race or something. So they were showing his right sideboard. So I knew something was going on with his sideboard, which gives you maybe a little bit of relief knowing that his car's not 100%. If you line him up behind me and this car is 100%, who knows what happens. I feel like him and Kerry Madsen have been faster than me up there. I feel like we gained on them, last week, but in general, I feel like they've been faster than I have. And, you line the car up that's, probably the fastest car there behind me. It's, you're going to have your hands full, but we're fast too, and we've made improvements too. So we feel like that when we get our car right and I'm driving right, we can beat anybody in the country there.
Hour number 2, watch it on Facebook, YouTube, and RacingBoys.com.
And we got more Brian Brown, Hour 2 exclusively on Racing Boys 2. And Matt Covington, we'll hear from him as well.
It's all brought to you by Rod End Supply, featuring the POWRi Midwest Lightning Sprints. Coming up next, Matt Covington.
Rod End Supply is involved with a variety of motorsports as well as industrial applications with many different types of products. Since 1989, Rod End Supply has provided superior products priced competitively. Whether you're racing at the circle track or drag strip, rock climbing, or going off-road, Rod End Supply has an assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products to keep your equipment moving. Rod End Supply's experienced staff is ready and willing to help you with your needs. Their promise is to continue to provide a superior product with superior service so you can stay in front of the field no matter what it is. To learn more, go to rodendsupply.com.
As men get
Thanks,
older,
my man.
our
Appreciate it,
bodies
bro.
change. We all know that.
Yeah, that was a little rough, but
No, we were good. I saw the number we were at. I knew we'd be getting down. I didn't think Scott was going to cut it like that, but we're good, man. Everything's good.
All right, yeah, well, we'll see you next week.
Yeah, rock and roll. Holler if you need something, bro.
All right, man.
If you're experiencing some or all of the symptoms I just noted, you very well may need low testosterone treatment. With our treatment protocols, if you're like most men, you'll be amazed at the change. You'll have more energy, improved mental clarity, your sleep will be better, so will your workouts, and you'll likely find that your sex drive increases too. So give us a call today and make the change for good. Your initial visit is just $99.
Rod End Supply is involved with a variety of motorsports as well as industrial applications with many different types of products. Since 1989, Rod End Supply has provided superior products priced competitively. Whether you're racing at the circle track or drag strip, rock climbing, or going off-road, Rod End Supply has an assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products to keep your equipment moving. Rod End Supply's experienced staff is ready and willing to help you with your needs. Their promise is to continue to provide a superior product with superior service so you can stay in front of the field no matter what it is. To learn more, go to rodendsupply.com.
Here at Specialty Sportswear in-house, we do all of the screen printing, all the embroidery. We do some vinyl. The other add specialty items like your pens, magnets, notepads, calendars. You can actually buy that, build your business to make it larger. We have the largest screen printing process and the largest embroidery anywhere around in the area. We can do stuff all the way from your school clubs to sports teams, a professional look in the office. If you can imagine it, we can do it for you.
From the circle track to the drag strip to off-road racing, Rod End Supply has been keeping their customers at the front of the field since 1989. Whether you need rod ends, tubular rods, or specialty products, Bob Douglas and his Rod End Supply staff are always ready to help you with your needs. You can visit them on the web at rodendsupply.com or call them at 800-284-2902. That's 800-284-2902. Rod End Supply, keeping you at the front of the field.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Sabres 33 RLP. Let's go take a tour. Coming into this animal, we're going to take a trip back here to the feature of this trailer, the deck. Check it out. It's awesome. It's 4 by 10 feet. You can dance on this thing. Boom! Check it out. It's pretty nice. And then coming to the back of this thing, you got a 75-inch TV. It's huge. 60-inch fireplace. Nice and big, keep you warm. Then you got an ottoman that converts into a table, if you will, maybe some TV trays. Then this hide-a-bed that I'm pointing at, it comes out and folds into like a king-size bed with storage in the corner for all your linens. Great little addition to the trailer. Your dinette, of course. Then you're gonna come around to the kitchen with the tic-toc sink. It's got the spritzer and the waterfall and all that stuff. Residential style refrigerator. It's got the microwave and the oven that's residential as well. Big old pantry over here with motion detected lights, coffee bar, and then coming up to the bedroom, you'll have the bathroom first, nice and spacious with a seat in it for them ladies. And then we got the king size bedroom with washer dryer hookup. I'm telling you, this is a home run for a couples coach. Come and see me, Kyle Walker.
When Steve died, the outpouring of love was amazing. These dollars had come together to support us, and we realized, no, we didn't want to use them for us. We wanted to use them to help others.
The foundation has done so much for so many people. It helps any family that has somebody, whether it be a crew member or one of the drivers, that get hurt. We can help them to get through the situation.
I was injured in a non-wing sprint car accident that broke my neck and left me with a spinal cord injury. I was in the hospital 8 months, and that got really, really expensive. So having that extra help to help push me and my family forward was a big deal.
Yes, Steve's death is the reason the foundation exists, but it's Steve's life, and it's the lives of racers everywhere, is the reason we're able to do the work we do.
So we have a lot of folks come in interested in traveling for work. This is going to be a great option. Your Coachman Northern Spirit 2565 front kitchen. You have a nice wraparound full front kitchen here. Huge windows up top. Big 12-volt refrigerator. Lots of windows on the sides here. Great natural light coming in. You have your big TV over here on the swing arm bracket so you can kind of see it from any point in the room. Also have your bar stools here. Sit and eat your breakfast. In the bedroom, you're going to have a king-size bed in the slide-out. Lots of storage underneath that. Washer, dryer, hookup. Tons of storage with the drawers. Then you got your full bath across the back. When it comes down to a camper that you can get for 6,500 pounds and be under 30 feet long, this is an absolute home run.
Race fans, the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum is open 7 days a week, year-round, for you to come in and check out all of the wonderful race cars on display in the museum. And our online store at sprintcarstuff.com is open 24 hours a day for you to check out everything that we have in stock for sprint car fans. Whether it's for a birthday, anniversary, or Christmas, sprintcarstuff.com has it all. That's at the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum in Knoxville.
Go harder, faster, stronger with Rod End Supply. Whether you are running industrial, farming equipment, or a race car, Rod End Supply has the assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products that will help you lead the field in performance. Our superior design means our rod ends last longer and perform better, giving you the edge on the track and saving you money. Contact Rod End Supply or order online today at rodendsupply.com. We don't just sell them, we race them. rodendsupply.com. Serving the racing community for over 30 years.
Hey everybody, this is Larry the Cable Guy, and you are listening to RacingBoys.com, and if you're not, I swear to you, get in your truck or do something, but get the hell out of this country, because you don't belong in it if you don't listen to these fellas.
It's time for America's most unique motorsports show, Track Talk, brought to you by Rod End Supply and the Power Ride Midwest Lightning Sprints. Here are the racing boys, Scott Traylor and Kirk Elliott.
Welcome back to Track Talk here on RBN, the Racing Boys Broadcasting Network. It's always nice to be on hour number 2 of RBN, the Racing Boys Broadcasting Network. Kirk, isn't it?
Yeah, we can just kind of roll with it. No commercial breaks
right
in this hour. We do it commercial-free in the second hour here, and we're just online. Race Boys, Facebook Live,
right,
YouTube. So
we don't worry if we mess up over here
yeah.
on.
We messed up enough on the first hour, right?
Kirk thinks we stumbled.
I don't think we had a bad hour in hour number 1.
Here's what Kirk's sad because he introduced that clip twice with Kaylee Bryson. That's why he's upset with himself, because he reintroduced it. But everything was fine. It was perfectly good. Nobody would even know it. Nobody would
stumbled our way through it.
Hey,
we're perfect.
Don't
it's all good.
Don't beat yourself.
Accountable for that.
Everything's good.
Hey, I wanted to send out our sympathies and well wishes to the family of Kurt Grogan, who passed away earlier this week. You and I found this out while we were on the air Monday, and
right,
saddened to hear the news. Kurt Grogan was a sprint car driver, and he was also a firefighter.
Right,
and sadly died at the age of 73 after a battle with.
Didn't he win a race surgery at 73?
I'm trying to think. I was trying to pull up his record of racing. I don't have that. But I remember him winning races back, 35, 40 years ago. He used to race up at Knoxville and different places. So, Kurt Grogan was a big name in racing out of Kansas City for a period of time. And we were saddened to hear the news that he'd passed away earlier this week. So his services were held on Friday. So, again, our thoughts and prayers go out to the family and, of course, the many friends of Kurt Grogan. Did you see that race on the NARC series at Ocean Speedway last night, Scott?
I didn't.
Justin Sanders wins in the NARC series at Ocean Speedway last night, but it was, the track took a little bit of rubber, but it was not short of exciting to watch. There was a lot of incidents in that race. A couple of guys getting upside down. But Sanders started on the pole. It was not easy for him, but he was able to maintain the advantage throughout and finish ahead of Shane Golobic as Tyler Thompson ends up third, Landon Brooks fourth, and Tanner Holmes coming from 14th to 5th. We saw Tanner Holmes here in Kansas City last week.
Right.
He raced out here at Lakeside Speedway last Friday night. Now he's back out in California and finished in the top 5 of the NARC series at Ocean Speedway after Justin Sanders leads all 30 laps last night. I watched that before I went to bed on Flow. That race was started and over with before the non-wing sprint car race got the green flag at US 36 Speedway. A race out on the West Coast ended before they even got started at
I am so glad I didn't go to US 36 Raceway last night.
Well, for us old guys, that would have been a very short night for you and me in bed.
Right.
And, you know, since you're going to Knoxville and I'm going to Belleville, that probably would not have been a good choice for you and I to be up there and hang around for that feature last night. I'll say that.
You could have went up to Eagle. That ain't that far away, and watched a little.
Hey, well, I could have. I watched that whole night on Flow last night, but Eagle is even farther away than Osborne.
But it would have got done earlier. But it might have got done earlier, though, right?
Maybe I'll go to Eagle tonight.
Well, you could do that.
Right.
There's a lot of options out there for you
$50,000 to win at Eagle Raceway tonight. Lucas Oil Late Model Series. Should be a good show. I'm headed to Belleville.
You're going to head to Belleville?
Yes, sir. I'll watch the
How many hours is that?
It's about 3.5, something like that.
Just about the same distance to Knoxville.
Yeah.
For me.
Well, it's a little farther to Belleville than Knoxville.
Right.
A little farther away.
I drove by a couple of races.
Here's the thing, Scott. You can stay at the North Campgrounds when the races are over tonight.
Right.
After the races are over, you go over to the Dingus, grab a couple of brewskis, hang out up there, have fun, stay at our camper at the North Fairgrounds.
Right.
Come back tomorrow.
Right. Maybe I'll bring the RV back.
Well, if you're going to plan on going to Lucas Oil Speedway, that might be what you'll need to do.
I drove by 2 tracks yesterday, guys. I drove through by, what was it, Sweet Springs?
Yep.
I drove through Sweet Springs yesterday.
I'll be there tomorrow night. I'm glad you brought that up,
There
Tom.
you go. How about that? What a
Sweet
segue.
Springs is the place to be tomorrow
For the
night
midget race?
because they've got the USAC midgets over there. So I'm planning on being over there for that.
Absolutely. It looked like they were already getting some people rolling into town when I stopped through there yesterday. And then I drove by I-70 Motorsports Complex. Nothing really going on there, though, yesterday. I didn't see anything moving in. Nothing in and out of there. But
I believe that I-70 Speedway is going to be no longer.
Yep, just going to
Would
be.
you believe that, Kurt?
Just going to be the Flying
Well,
H.
that's possible. Here's the latest of what's going on at I-70 Motorsports Park. Last year, Chris Payne filed a lawsuit against his business partner, Steve Bailey. They're partners in not the drag strip, where the dirt track sits. And that legal action, as far as we know, is still in action right now. So that means there's nothing going on at the dirt track at I-70 Speedway. Well, what the future lies there, I don't think anybody really knows. But I do know from the sources I had that Steve Bailey would like to buy Chris Payne out. If that happens, then there can be a future of the dirt track at I-70 Speedway. And if Steve Bailey were to buy out Chris Payne, then you'd see the shortened racetrack that Casey Schumann talked about last year, and there could be a future for I-70 Speedway. But I'm going to tell you, I don't look for anything to happen before the end of this year. All of the scheduling has gone awry for 2025. The events that they had on the schedule have all been canceled except for one. The Malvern Bank late model race that's scheduled for Friday night NASCAR weekend in late September is still on the schedule, but I don't look for it to be happening. I don't look for any races to happen at I-70.
It's never good when a partner sues another partner.
Looks like everything was filed June 17th of 2024.
That's it.
I'm looking at the...
But it's still going on right now.
We're not going to show this on the page, but I'm looking on this, the actual.
It's public record out there.
There you go. Well, I'll pull it up then.
He
So there you go.
claimed that Steve Bailey didn't meet up to his responsibilities, whatever that was, and so you got two. It'd be like me suing you, Scott.
Yep.
How do you think that'd go?
It wouldn't go.
Or you suing me? Business partners.
I would never sue you, Kurt.
No, I wouldn't either. I wouldn't sue you. I'd trust you. Trust you with my life. I wouldn't do that. But there's a problem.
I trust you with my life, too, Kurt.
There's a problem between Chris Payne and Steve Bailey. And Steve Bailey is not going to make any decisions, do anything, until this is all rectified in court. He's the defendant. And then I hear that there's some issues going on with Scott Higgs, the owner of that Chris Payne has got some issues with Scott Higgs, the owner of the Flying H drag strip, that needs to be worked out. So there's all these kind of legal entanglements that are going on right now that got to get worked out before we know the future. But I'm here to say that there could still be a future for I-70 Speedway dirt track if Steve Bailey can buy out Chris Payne. Steve Bailey does have big plans for that racetrack.
Do you think that the track will be shortened up, Kirk?
If Steve Bailey was able to, yes, I do. I think that could happen. But as far as Scott Higgs is concerned, the owner of the Flying H drag strip, if you look at where that, and we've said this before on this show, if you look at where the dirt track sits in relation to the drag strip, if you're Scott Higgs, you're thinking, hey, that thing's in my way.
Right.
It shortens up the road to get to the staging lanes. We could use that for parking, all kinds of things. But I don't know for sure if Scott Higgs has the wherewithal to buy out everybody and just own everything. If that happens, that dirt track's going away.
Do you think that they'll ever get a national event out there at the drag strip?
Yes, I do. I think that could happen maybe as early as next year. It's not on this year's calendar, but yeah, they're building up the infrastructure around there. They still got a lot of work to do on the drag strip side to stage a NHRA national event, but I do believe that's going to happen someday.
Sorry.
They're going to have, and we had Blake Housley on this show here a little over a year ago saying that is in the future plans, but right now they're not ready for that. There's a lot of more paving that's got to be done, more parking, got to put up more grandstands. They've already got grandstand seating on one side of the drag strip that could probably seat 10,000 people. That's a huge grandstand on the left side of that drag strip. But in time, we're going to see an NHRA national event at Flying H drag strip. I have no doubt about it.
There's a lot of these people. I'm reading a Facebook post from just a random person, but I did a Google search on the lawsuit,
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people that have what Scott wants to have done out there. I'll read you a couple of these comments. Just bring back the freaking asphalt already. Second one is, if it was paved, we wouldn't have this issue.
So Scott Traylor's not the only person that would like to see that happen.
Here's another comment. If it was paved, we wouldn't have this issue. We'd already have ARCA and ASA back. Here's another one that says...
So a lot of people are wanting to get it paved.
Yeah, there's a lot of people telling them.
I don't think that's going to happen.
No, here's another one. Here's my personal option is we should go back to being a high paved, banked asphalt like it was originally. But all the people, when they comment on there, always say it's, all these people like Roy Lilly.
But whether it's paved or asphalt is not at the center of the issues between
You're
Chris
right.
Payne and Steve Bailey.
Yeah, no. And then I'm also reading maybe there were some issues between maybe them not allowing them to use some of the rest. Is that right? Was the drag strip not being allowed to be able to use the restrooms over there on the dirt track side?
Right.
I don't know. I saw a couple comments that said that, so maybe there was some issues that.
Well, here's the issue, with staging an NHRA national event. Even if you do that, you're still going to have to utilize more than just 150 acres that Scott Higgs owns for the drag strip in order to stage that event. You're going to have a lot of cars to park and
all the merch
spectator
stuff,
parking, merchandise, all of that. You still have to utilize, and that was always going to be the case, that if they were to stage an NHRA national event at Flying H drag strip, they'd still have to lean on Chris Payne and Steve Bailey for their side of the property in order to park all the spectators and handle the event. So if you're going in that direction and making it a big-time drag racing facility, if you're Scott Higgs, wouldn't you want to own the entire property?
I believe that maybe someday they'll pave that racetrack.
I think that's the least likely scenario that's going to happen with I-70 dirt track. Now, does it still have a chance to remain a dirt track? Yes. It does still have a chance to remain as a dirt track if Steve Bailey buys out Chris Payne.
Kirk, the dirt flies over onto the drag strip.
But they don't run the events the same day, though. So that doesn't.
You
That's not an
can't
issue.
stage events together.
They're not.
Out there.
That'll
you
never
can't have
happen.
events on the same weekend, the same day on the dirt track as you do the drag strip. That's got to be separated.
But the dirt ends up over on the
that's
drag
true.
strip.
It happened at Heartland Park, Topeka, when they had the
Right.
dirt track over there.
Right.
But they clean it off. It ain't a
But
big.
I don't think that's the big issue right now.
I think the
there's
biggest-
a lot of questions. There's a lot of questions about the future of what's going to happen out here, and all of it centers around what's going on in court right now, how that gets all settled. Hopefully, Chris Payne can just say enough is enough and just walk away.
If they would have just let Casey build it as the smaller track that they wanted to originally, they probably would have had enough weekly racing or a couple events to be able to make enough money to where everybody would have been happy. But you know as well as I do, that was a big track. A lot of cars couldn't race out there. High Limit said that they would come back, but they would much rather see it as a smaller track as well. So
Too big.
We
It's
know
too big and
it
too
was just
fast.
too big and fast. So
The
I get it.
straightaways, even the straightaways, is banked as much as they are at I-70 dirt track. It just, you're just not going to bring in the series and the car counts racing on that track. So if Steve Bailey, and I'll repeat this again, if Steve Bailey is able to buy out Chris Payne, then that track's going to be shortened and it's going to be a much better facility. Now, the question is, and I should have meant what I earlier said about Chris Payne just walking away. No, Chris Payne walking away with some semblance of finances that will satisfy him to walk away and get on with his life.
Yeah, that's more like it. Like a financial buyout and everything's settled.
All about the money.
You know as well as I do, once the lawyers get involved, it's always tough anyway. So
And the lawyers are the only ones that win in these
they're the ones who
scenarios.
win,
They're the only winners in all of this.
Hey, just pave it.
But that's not going to happen. Forget it. That you're not going to see a paved racetrack.
I'm with Kirk. The only pavement
In
you're going
Odessa,
to
Missouri
only
anymore.
pavement you're
That's
going to
gone.
see
It's over.
is the pavement of the parking lot. That's what you're going to see.
Right.
So,
Yeah, if there's any pavement to be going on, it's going to be paved over as a parking lot.
yeah, or a staging area where they can get all the cars worked on. And
But the biggest development I'm here to report this morning is there's still a chance that I-70 dirt track can survive.
fingers crossed.
There still is a chance of that happening.
It sucks that they put all that time and money and effort into something and it only run for 2 years like that. It's just kind of a, I don't know.
Well, the only bad thing is we're not going to see any more racing this year.
No.
At I-70 dirt, any racing at all at I-70 dirt track.
And you know as well as I do, every year a track sets, it just makes it a little tougher to bring it back. So, I mean, don't let it sit too long, guys.
But I think Steve Bailey would like to keep this going.
Oh, yeah, that's all the reports, all the comments you're seeing in the comment sections on all this scuttlebug on Facebook. That's what you're seeing. So I don't know. Who knows?
It's like a nasty divorce proceeding going on right now. You got two business partners going at each other, and how's it going to be resolved? And how soon is it going to be? At some point, it's going to be resolved, right? Somebody's going to negotiate and be satisfied with whatever financial settlement. You hope that Chris Payne can be satisfied at some point of some sort of financial settlement and get on with his life. And we hope that happens sooner than later. But in the meantime, nobody can predict just how long this is going to. With lawyers involved, you brought it up,
right,
Todd.
Yeah.
You just don't know what's going to happen.
Well, Lakeside ran last night. I know that. I think they got all their racing in last night.
How about Buzz Caster?
The old dude's getting her done still. So love to see Buzz picking up a win, and congratulations. And if you need any muffler work while you're done out there, I'm sure Buzz can take care of you over there on Leavenworth Road. He'll take care of you.
Buzz started on the pole and I assume led the whole way in the USRA stock car division. So congratulations to Buzz Caster. Tim Carrick,
how about that?
The Hall of Famer, wins in the USRA B-Mod division over John Sheets. I saw him win down at Central Missouri Speedway a couple of weeks ago. He's got separate cars, I think. He runs a different car at Lakeside than he does at CMS. So Tim Carrick still getting it done out there. How about that? And congratulations to Colby Burge in the E-Mod class and Tim Billings in the Pure Stocks, all winners at Lakeside Speedway.
Jake Richards picked up the win at Valley Speedway last weekend.
He did, a week ago.
Yep.
So
they'll be running. Everybody running tonight. Everything looks good for tonight. I don't see. I know. Here's what I do know. We had
I'm thinking about changing my mind and going to Eagle tonight.
Yeah, I mentioned Eagle, and that might not be a bad race to go see.
Might want to call ahead up there. I don't have credentials up there for you. You might have to shell out the money to pay your way in.
Hey, everybody's heard of the Racing Boys. I just walk up there.
There you go.
Just say, I'm here.
I'm here.
I'm here with my recorder. What do we got to do?
Right.
Well, I know one thing is there was enough race. I mean, there was some terrible storms around the Midwest yesterday. And so, like you said, people in St. Louis, if you're racing in St. Charles, St. Louis area, man, you might want to check that area out before you come down to the tracks. Check those out. I know they had some bad tornadoes, man. They're really cleaning up this morning. That was pretty devastating.
That was shocking. I mean, there was no chance of rain around here at all.
Nothing. That's what made it so strange here. When I saw the report, I honestly thought, guys, that it was from a couple, like it was an old report. You know what I mean? Because I didn't think they were calling for any storms around here. But, man, you saw that photo we saw from the St. Louis Arch. Talk about being in a bad predicament, huh, Scott? Being at the top of that arch.
I wouldn't want to be in that arch.
Could a tornado take down the Gateway Arch?
I don't want to be the one testing it to find out if that's,
Have you ever been up in that arch before? I have.
I have.
Yeah,
it's kind of cool.
We went. We did not go
in
up
that
in
little
it.
cage.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. There was a video, on cable. I watched a whole thing about the making of it and everything. It's pretty cool. Yeah, that tornado, guys, waking up to, we had 16 people so far pass away in this terrible event.
Well, I think it just shocked everybody, didn't it?
Absolutely.
I mean, it was just a surprise.
Yeah, did you see the church? They've got the real big churches there, and man, it's just
that's sad.
Just really tearing up.
Sad about the loss of life.
Yeah, I like you said, Kirk, we had no idea it was going to be this bad, but looking at some of the video this morning, it was just terrible. So we're thinking about everybody out there that went through all that.
Well, you just have to pay attention to the weather this time of the year, don't you?
Absolutely, and that's one of the things we talk about.
Even if you think it's a nice day, you got to pay attention to what's going on.
You know, we talked about that being out at Kansas Speedway last week, guys. You know.
Well, one
it
time,
can happen, yeah.
They didn't have to worry about it last weekend out there, though, did they?
But like Scott
one
said,
time, there was a tornado out there.
Yeah.
Wasn't there, Kirk?
A couple of times. In the fall one year, there was a tornado spotted at Tonganoxie headed towards the Speedway in the fall race. Remember that?
Yes, sir. So I know for a fact.
And you know what's so funny about that? They herded everybody in the media center like they thought that's the safest place
no,
to be.
you need to be in that.
That might have been the most dangerous place to be.
It might have been the dangerous
That
place.
tunnel is the tornado thing, right?
I'm headed to that
the
pedestrian tunnel down
Yeah,
in turn 1. That's where I'm headed.
Yeah,
if that
that's
happens out
actually
there.
it's got signs on there when you walk through
Yeah.
there with the emblem on it to let people know, hey, this is where you should be hunkering down if you have.
That's where I'm running to if it happens out
Absolutely.
there.
Well, you know, here another.
Thank God we didn't have to worry about it last weekend.
Well, you know, the media center though we're in, if you head to the backside back in there, that's all concrete back there. Those are cinder block buildings.
But it's
you
a
know?
tin roof on it.
Yeah, but you might be able to survive the, you know. But like you said, guys, it in the air. It was in Clayton, is what it is. But it just outside of St. Louis there, and we saw the St. Louis Zoo had some damage and some other stuff. So, like you said, guys, check on your loved ones out there, and if you have any racing or you're leaving around from there, just know that it may be effective. With
You know, it brings up the point. You know, last weekend at Kansas Speedway, when this time of the year when you got bad weather coming through, you know, the thing that always worries me is that during a NASCAR race weekend,
you got lightning
and you
and
have all those haulers and people and
a lot of
I mean,
the mass of people, isn't it?
What a dangerous situation. You and I were down at Lucas Oil Speedway one year when a tornado hit the county. You remember we were sitting in your Bounder motorhome at Lucas Oil Speedway during the Diamond Nationals one year?
Well, that was scary.
And,
hey, we left.
survived a tornado twice that day because on the way back, they called the races off, had to come back the next day.
And we were going through Clinton.
Yeah. Through Clinton, Missouri, and had to dodge another tornado, getting back to Kansas City. Remember that?
Yep.
So it's crazy, but you know, you just hope that you don't have, you know, with all the race car haulers at these events and the massive amounts of people, that something doesn't happen during those weekends. That's what you're always. And if you're a promoter, you know, if you're like Pat Warren at Kansas Speedway, or you're a race series operator or track promoter, that's got to be the biggest thing that keeps you up at night leading into these weekends this time of the year, is the weather and, you know, tornadoes. And
think about also all the workers that you have out there, you
Yeah.
know, and they're the ones trying to get the people to where they got to go. Now you've maybe got 300, 400 employees wearing the yellow jackets out there during this. You know, it's a massive. If we saw you, there's a shot in the media center where they have Royal Stadium and Chief Stadium on the inside. It's it kind of shows you how big the facility is. The Royal Stadium and Chief Stadium both fit on the infield of the thing, plus extra room. So this place is massive. So you're talking.
You know, they're talking about taking the Royal Stadium down to North Kansas City.
They're trying to get it everywhere.
Clay County.
Everybody's trying to put a pitch in now.
I like it right where it's at, but that's just me.
They're playing today.
Hey,
because it's close to your home.
Hey, I was going to admit, there was one other incident. If you remember at Lucas Oil Speedway in 2019, they had to call off the whole weekend
they
because
did.
of a tornado. And we think it's a tornado that
They
hit
called
the
it-
racetrack and did a lot of damage to the road.
They called it.
The off-road facility. You remember that?
Right.
They said it was
they
a
had to
supercell.
cancel the whole weekend. There was no Show Me 100 in 2019, and a couple of days before everybody showed up, a big storm. They said it was a straight line wind. I think it was a tornado that hit the track just leading up to the weekend in 2019, and they had to call the whole thing off. So.
Yeah, that was. Remember we.
And there's been a couple of close calls at Lucas Oil Speedway on the day of the Show Me 100 that they had to dodge.
Here's the video. This is our video. We had Dan Robinson on. I think it was right after this happened. This is our old studio. You can see that in this thing. But you'll see some photos.
That is the old studio.
Over it, but here's the
This is 2019 at the off-road track.
Yep, and they
just tore everything up.
So we posted some photos from that during that, and you're right, Kirk. When we saw it, me and you first thing we thought about was, well, that doesn't look
tornado.
That looks like a tornado, not a.
But they said it was a straight line wind.
Yeah, I mean when you see some of this, yeah.
Let's hope they don't have to worry about it this next weekend. Let's keep our fingers
I
crossed.
think we're clear.
Everything is good for. This coming weekend. We just got a note from the Lucas Oil Speedway folks that they've set up some pretty good activities for the pre-race entertainment and ceremonies for the Show Me 100. The 33rd annual Show Me 100, Thursday through Saturday, is sponsored by Nutrien Ag Solutions. They've got some music guests coming on down there. Have you ever heard of a lady by the name of Lee Newton?
I haven't.
Well, she's going to perform prior to the Show Me 100 on Saturday. So anyway, we got a story up there on raceboys.com. You can check that out of all the pre-race entertainment they've got. The Cowboy Classic on Thursday night. The tribute to Don and Billy Gibson on Friday night. Each of those events paid $10,000 to win. And then Saturday night, $75,000 to win. That's a real crown jewel, isn't it?
It is.
The Show Me 100 coming up next weekend down at Lucas Oil Speedway. So should we get back to some of these interviews? Who do we got?
Yeah, we got to finish up this Brian Brown. Finish that up. That way it's still fresh on our mind. And then we'll finish out the show with Matt Covington.
So part 2 of Brian Brown, the winner at Knoxville last Saturday night. Let's go with that right now. Lakeside Speedway is a track that you've historically done very well at. What happened during qualifying on Friday night? That, of course, you got to qualify well at those races, don't you?
Yeah, that was a brand new car that we had crashed a week before in a heat race at Knoxville and got that thing tore up and bandaged that back together so we could at least finish. But then when we got back to the shop, it was more banged up than we had thought. So we brought a new car to Lakeside. And you get a green, white checkered hot lap session, and, it's hard. It's hard to be – every car's different. They need something a little bit different. And I probably just gave a little bit of bad feedback to our team, and we made some adjustments that just wasn't the right adjustments. And, we just didn't qualify we got through 1 and 2 really good and got through 3 and 4 good. But then when we got to the exit of turn 4, we just couldn't get off the corner and kind of spun. And we qualified bad, and obviously that put us in a real bad spot. I felt like we did a pretty good job in the heat race to get from 8th to 5th, and then in the A-Main, I felt like I would have a pretty good car there too, and started 17th and passed a few in 1 and 2, and then went to 3 and 4, and a car was spun out in front of me and nowhere to go, so I banged into them and knocked the nose wing back and knocked the front bumper up and things like that, so I had to go back to the back. And then, either you have a good car or you don't at that point. And, we had a car, I think we got back to 15th at one point, and then it just wasn't very good at the end. And sometimes when you get back there and you're not going to be able to charge through the field, you kind of just go into like, okay, let's just get this thing to the finish. And because we know we have an important night the next night, and there's not a lot of turnaround time, so you definitely don't want to get it crashed or whatever. So it just sometimes you just, Kirk, just don't have a good night.
Yeah.
And it starts with qualifying, and we just did not have a good night. But the good news about our team is we can wipe the slate clean and start over knowing we have an important night on Saturday and really leave Friday night behind you. And, that's what you have to do, because in this sport, one bad night turns into 2 bad nights, turns into a couple weeks of bad nights, and next thing you know, you've had 2 months of bad nights. So we're just trying really hard this year to just say, okay, when we close that trailer door at the end of the night, did we have some bad luck? Was the car no good? Was the driver, he didn't drive good? Was it all three or whatever? But we can't change that previous night. We can only look in the mirror and say, okay, what can we do to be better? And then just tackle that next night and try to get back on a good note. And we did that Saturday. So that was important for us to be able to do that. And it's important that, it's early in the year. It's not, it's still we're 10, 12 races into the year. So it's important to get a win and get that knocked off the list. So that way you don't want to get in June, July, August and, still haven't won a race. And, you can kind of sometimes get a little bit desperate and maybe do desperate things. But I like where we are as a team right now, especially up there at Knoxville. I feel like we haven't been our best, and we've, had some good runs and then made some changes Saturday and got our car better to where I'm about 80% there. So just keep working on it there. And like I said, it's fine-tuning things. It's nothing that's huge, but just things that make my job a little bit easier inside that car.
Was there a little frame damage on your car?
Yeah, obviously there was frame damage on last week's car, and then a little bit there Friday night at Lakeside too. So like I said, that's 2 straight nights where things are out of your control, that you get banged up, and now you're working to fix your car during the night versus worrying about the racetrack and worrying about what's you're just trying to get back out there, not produce the best car you can. And I feel like it's nice just to get in there and get a good, solid, uneventful night, and still bring the check home at the end. So, like I said, it's good. Chad, Justin, Devin, my crew guys, they work very, very hard, and they keep good attitudes, rain, sleet, or snow. And it was good to reward them with a good finish on Saturday.
Hey, the week before in that heat race, did all you replaced was the front axle on that car when you had that incident with Carson?
No,
what other did you fix?
The left front torsion tube was bent and pretty much broke off the car. So we got lucky enough in the heat race just to put a coilover shock on the left front for a suspension to just ride around. The rules at Knoxville are you get points for qualifying, and then you get points for your heat, and then they tally those together. Then they do an invert. Well, in the heat race, the only rule is to get points, you have to finish. It doesn't matter if you finish 3 laps down or whatnot. You have to finish. And for us, we just limped it together where we could go out there and at least finish the heat. And then when we got back, thankfully, we had our Everlast welder in the trailer, and Corey Eliason, is a welder by trade, and he was able to weld that tube up and get it straight, or we straightened it and he welded it up enough for us to finish the night. But then when we got back to the shop, the down tube was moved a little bit and things like that. But yeah, like I said, just that's one of those situations where, it's you're getting the welder out, and you got the nose wing off it, and you got the front axle out of it, and you got all this stuff going on, and then they're calling for the cars for the A main. So you're not really paying attention to the track and things like that. So those are nights where you're happy to finish, and that night we finished second, which that was good too, but not the attention to detail that we need to put these things in victory lane.
Hey, did you hear about the news about Kurt Krogan passing away?
No, I did not hear that. No.
Yeah, we just found out here just while we were on the air, Brian. Just 4 days ago. I guess.
Did you ever race against him?
I don't think I did. I'm sure Danny did back in the day. Yeah, that's bad to hear. And lots of prayers out to his family. That's definitely not good.
Yeah. So anyway, that's all the details that we've got right now. So yeah, real sad to hear that news. So. You and Chad Morgan have a lot of history together, and you were away for a while. Now you're back together again. This seems a whole lot better than it's ever been right now with you and he.
Yeah, it's always, I feel like we work really good together. It's just like, honestly, like I never had a brother in my life, and he is like a brother. And like, there's times that we We argue like brothers, but there's nobody that have each other's back more than me and him do for each other. And that's the guy you want to go to battle with. And he's very passionate. You know, he's a great crew chief, great mind. Sometimes I feel like that his mind is a lot further ahead of mine, and maybe I kind of hold the team back somewhat a little bit because of my thinking. But I like to get into a box sometimes, and well, if it worked last year, it should work this year. And he's a little bit more outside the box. You know, we really complement each other very well in that aspect, where he gets me thinking, well, this is why it shouldn't work, and it's the target. The target's always moving with these tires. I mean, they're black and they're round, but the construction of them aren't the same, I don't feel like, consistently. So that's the thing that's touching the track at all times. So what you're doing today to your car come August may be 180 degrees different. And that makes it hard. It makes it hard because you're working on a package. Next thing you know, you have to flip a switch and go the other direction based on what you're getting with the tires. So he does a good job of getting us, when we get off base a little bit, back to working on something different than I would probably suggest. But yeah, he does a great job, and he's a great leader. You know, he leads Justin Lauer, Devin Brenneman on a daily basis. To running 70 races in 20 states is not an easy task, and he does a great job of doing. There's things I do well and things he does well, and we complement each other very well to make this all go around on the Casey's FVP 21.
Hey, I'm just going to say, this thing has gotten so competitive out there. I mean, even at Knoxville, I mean, it's so hard to win now than it's ever been because everybody's got good stuff. The driving talent's better than it's ever been. Well, you have to have a short memory, don't you? I mean, we've seen other examples of it from Lakeside. When you had Kerry Madsen get taken out, Rico blamed himself for that, and then Kerry comes back the next night and has a better night. Brad Sweet comes back with a second after getting tore out. I mean, you got to have short memories, don't you?
Yeah, like I'm telling you, it's as hard as it's ever been. I mean, I say that every year, but I really feel like it. I mean, you're talking, if you go there and you're off, you're going to run 15th. This is part of it. I mean, and even sometimes when you're not off, you run 15th. There's not many cars. I can count on probably one hand how many cars are consistently going to be in the top 5 every single night. There's times that Justin Peck might run 10th and then he run 3rd the next night, or he might it's just a moving. Brad runs good every night. Rico seems to run pretty good every night. And then you have on the other side of them, you have David Gravel and Schuhart and really Macedo. But other than that, it's just that top 4 to 10 it's moving. And like I said, it better be wired in. It's a full-time job. It's not a Friday at 5 o'clock. You think about it and you shut it off at midnight. Today's Monday and we're thinking about what's making our car better at Knoxville or what made our car not so good at Lakeside. And it's a notebook business. It's a data business. We're keeping every note on every single thing we can actually measure or take data on. We're taking the data. And it's a lot more work, but the data is all you have. And it's just becoming more of it's a business. And like I said, it's a business of you have to produce. And the only way to produce is to have the data and know what to do with the data and have the guys that are willing to do the work that it takes to put in the effort to go fast and to win races. And sometimes you collect all that data, you do all your job, and you go out there and you're 15th quick. So then you get smacked in the face, and it's like, okay, now what? So it's not for the, I don't know if the word is not for the weak at heart, but it's a tough sport, but that's what makes you, you have to enjoy the process. You have to enjoy losing a little bit sometimes, and not enjoy losing, but losing's got to motivate you to want to work harder. And as I get older, I'm 45 years old now, and I got to take better care of myself off the track. I got to go to the gym. Probably I work out harder now today than I ever have in my life because I don't want to be the weak link, and I want to be in shape when it counts, and just all part of it, Kurt.
Brian Brown. They call him Blackjack, Brian Brown, because he's got number 21 car.
Right.
So he just Brian Brown to me.
Matt Covington's coming up next, Kurt.
Yeah. You think now, we don't know for sure if Brian Brown is going to go to Port Royal next weekend. He was waiting to see what the weather was going to be like.
Right.
He likes running out in Pennsylvania, and Port Royal is a place he won. Remember, he won the Tuscarora 50 a couple of years ago, so I don't think we know for sure if Brian Brown is going to head to Pennsylvania to race in the Bob Weichert race next weekend at Port Royal Speedway, so we'll just kind of keep tabs on his website and we'll find out for sure. But he'll be at Knoxville tonight, and Matt Covington is going to be at Knoxville tonight.
Right.
Racing in the 360 division. Last week, Matt Covington broke a 47-race drought in the ASCS National Tour by winning at Paducah, Kentucky last Saturday night. Earlier this week, we spoke with Matt Covington about his big victory in Paducah. All right, let's talk about this big win on Saturday night at Paducah. Boy, that looked like it was cowboy up. You almost had a perfect night. You qualified second, I think, to Blake and his group. You won your heat race, started on the pole, and led the whole way. But it wasn't without a little bit of nervous moments there. Talk about
sometimes it's just your night. You know, we weren't the fastest car right out of the gate. We worked on the car every time we came back to the pits, and it's one of those nights where we just we made the right calls and made the car faster every time. By the time the dash rolled around, we knew we were fast. We got fortunate in the heat race. Did not get a good start. I'd tell you the guy jumped it a little bit, but it happens, and
Right.
ended up with the part failure there in the heat race. I don't know that we were going to get around him. He was trucking pretty good along there, and then we didn't have our car where it needed to be at that moment. And sometimes things work with you. Sometimes it works against you. Sometimes it works with you. And that time it worked with us, and so we got another opportunity to start up in the front of that thing and worked on the car a little bit and got it really fast. I mean, and something about that racetrack, I seem to always run good there. We won that race in 18 and had a good shot at winning it last year and had a flat tire and didn't win it this time. So there's something about that track. Maybe I'm just lucky there, and maybe Kentucky's my lucky spot, or it's just a racetrack that fits our program or fits my driving style. It's lightning fast track, high banked, had some pretty gnarly ruts in it that night. Our car was just zooming through them, no problem. It's super fast, high bank track, perfect oval, wall around it. I mean, it's everything that I look for in a racetrack. You know, it was one that when I seen it back on the schedule last year, I was like, okay, that's the one we got a chance of winning that one for sure. You know, and so I was glad to see it back on the schedule again. And heck, I wouldn't be mad if we raced there a couple times.
It looked like it was a little rough in turn 3.
Yeah, well, they had so much rain. You know, I think, maybe the month or a few weeks before that, the track was underwater. So it was, really it was pretty impressive that we were that they, they got us there. Their ground must be right, or they just, I don't know, wasn't there to see how hard they worked to get us there. But I would imagine it took some serious work to just for us to be able to run that night. And I had no issues with the track. It was maybe a little bit narrower than what you'd remember from back in 2018, but with the track being totally underwater not that long ago, I was actually pretty surprised.
Well, sounds like your comments in Victory Lane, you're happy to get the car to the finish line there. What was going on with the race car?
Well, I think we just got hit with a big chunk. I'm assuming a big chunk of mud just obliterated the side of the hood, and actually we're working on the car here at Knoxville right now, and the throttle linkage is all bent, right there at the engine where that mud caved. Luckily, the hood was strong enough where it didn't rip the throttle linkage all the way off, but so we got lucky in more than just one way. I was, from looking at how bent that stuff was, we were pretty kind of fortunate to be able to finish it off. It's been real easy for that stuff to break. I mean, that throttle linkage isn't real big, thick, durable stuff. You know, you're talking about a 1032. Luckily, we run steel Hymens right there. You know, probably Rod End Supply steel Hymes, to be honest with you. And they, you know, it held up. I want to say if we would have had aluminum Hymens on that throttle linkage rod, she would have probably definitely snapped off, and we wouldn't be talking right now, and we'd be my mood wouldn't be as high as it is right now. But that was some adversity we had to overcome, I guess. And but honestly, you know, the track's fast like that. As long as you could hold the pedal down and ride a little brake over those ruts, that was about all we needed to win that one that night.
Hey, it was 47 races since your last win. Were you jonesing for a win?
Yeah, I mean, I don't like to admit that, you know, but, you know, you try to keep your mental focus the same at every race. You know, I do anyway. I mean, you guys start trying harder or worrying about this or that, and you just make mistakes. You got to have a clear head out there. But sure, it was, you know, I mean, it's in the back of your mind. It feels good to know that you can do it again, that you can still do it, you know. So it's, you know, it's looking good for us beginning of this season. And, you know, we've started off strong before. It's, you know, it's getting through the mid-season and, you know, pushing all the way through the end. It's a long year, long, hot year where we're racing at anymore, and got a lot of hard competition to try to outrun. Guys we got to beat, guys that want to beat us, and it'll be interesting. We're going to give it our best shot, and we're setting pretty good right now.
The next national tour event is May 30th at Hutchinson, Kansas, and you go to the Steve King Memorial at Dodge City after that. What do you do in the meantime?
Well, we trucked it back to Knoxville. We ran Knoxville the week before Paducah, and we had a third-place run there, which was real good for us. We ran 10th, I think, at the Nationals last year at the 360 Nationals, and then Knoxville was a place that we've been struggling at the last few years. But it's actually a track where I got my first ever sprint car win in 2008, I think it was, and it might have been 2009, 8 or 9, and you know, made the 360 Nationals first few years, and then we kind of just went on a spell where we weren't that good there, and been working hard trying to get back where we need to be. And so we're coming off two strong runs at Knoxville, and want to keep that going. And so we decided to come back from Kentucky and come right back here. I'm just parked outside turn 3, plugged into a 50 amp plug-in. The people here at Knoxville, they treat their sprint car drivers like royalty. I mean, they take care of us. There's some guys that stay in the campers back there behind 3 and 4. I think they made us burgers and brats last week, and we're having beef short ribs tonight. And we'll probably we eat a lot of burgers and brats around here, so we'll probably do beef burgers and brats again sometime later in the week. So everybody takes good care of us around here, so we're glad to be back here. And really, we just want to keep working on our program here at Knoxville too, and see if we can't keep the speed up, and maybe try to win another one of those. You know, if they want to talk about a drought, they need to talk about how long it's been since I won a race at Knoxville.
Clint Garner's got to be kind of disappointed that he didn't get it on Saturday night. Tasker Phillips had that was a pretty wild race up at Knoxville on Saturday.
I haven't watched the highlight video of that race yet. You know, Garner was fast that weekend before when I ran third. You know, he ended up winning that night, and I got in front of him earlier in the race, and then later in the race he zoomed right around me and then left. I mean, he had some good speed there, and I heard about it. Tasker, you know, I'm still part of Chick Magnet Motorsports, and so's Tasker Phillips. So it was a good night. It was a really good night for Chick Magnet Motorsports, getting the win with the National Tour and then the win with Tasker. Chick Magnet Motorsports is probably feeling pretty good right now too. But no, we want to come back here, work on our program, Knoxville, try to get faster. You know, and we've had good speed as of late, and we're in a position where our supporters, they want us to keep racing. And, you know, we had a couple weekends off there with the National Tour, and thought it was a good idea to come this weekend and then maybe take Memorial Day weekend off with the family. I have a 1.5-year-old girl, and haven't seen her for a few weeks now. I do have my 3-year-old son, Ian. He's here with us at Knoxville, actually. Cool. He's helping Steven work on the car right now. So we'll Mommy probably want him back for at least for Memorial Day weekend. So we'll probably take that weekend off, try to gear up for the 2 National Tour races you mentioned. Dodge City's been a good racetrack for us. Last year we had a good opportunity to win that one, and I run over a lap car leading late in the race or mid race, and we've won there before. We won the Steve King Memorial race I think in 22 or 23, and so that track's a track that treats us well. And as far as Hutchinson goes, I actually have not ever raced there. Guys tell me it's big and flat and that kind of thing. So maybe running some more laps at Knoxville won't necessarily be a bad thing.
That's another reason for you to go up there this weekend, Scott.
Right. I'm planning on coming up to Knoxville this weekend, Matt.
Well, come see us. If you make it down, come see us, Scott.
I
like
will.
to have you here.
Hey, Matt, congratulations on the win the other night. That is so cool. It was an entertaining race to watch, I'll say that, because we were also following Blake Hahn's escapades after his tire went down, and he came back charging through the field, too. So, and
yeah, you bring up Blake Hahn's tire. I haven't sent Blake the bill for it yet, but the guy next to me, that tire flew off his car and hit his trailer, and then it skimmed mine a little bit. I think it's just some rubber marks that are going to buff out, but it yeah, no, it was a rough racetrack. I mean, it definitely, if something was going to break, that'd be the kind of track that it's going to show up on. And that, and Blake probably pretty fortunate that it didn't tear his stuff up and was still able to get it fixed and get back up through the field like he did, which I thought was impressive. But
yeah, he still ended up with a fifth place
up a little bit, so I'm gonna have to send him the picture of this and let him know about it. I hadn't let him know about it yet, but
he came back to finish 5th. That's amazing.
Yeah, I know. That's which I mean, that was tough. That would have been tough to do. That's why I say it was impressive. I don't know how many cars had fallen out before then. I mean, like I said, it was a tough racetrack. There was probably some guys out there that just thought it wasn't worth it and didn't want to tear anything else up, or or it was worth taking the chance. But still, I mean, it was a lightning fast track. I mean, the guy's really got to be comfortable in his car and maybe a little brave too to be able to pull something like that off.
Hey, anytime that you outrun Sam Haferteeth Jr., that's a big thing, right?
Yeah, Sam and Bergman. I mean, those guys are been fast. I mean, if you look back, Bergman was the fastest car in qualifying, and he's been doing that a whole lot. We haven't been doing that a whole lot. We need to work on our qualifying a little bit, but when we're not off a lot, we're we're talking a tiny little bit, and Bergman and Sam they've been dominating going back to last year. They've been dominating the qualifying thing, and so we got a little bit of catching up to do, I think, in that department. But two guys that are really on it right now. Blake's going to be tough to beat like he always is, and Jason Martin. Jason Martin's outgunned me on the national tour before, so we got a tough group. And then there's more than that, and a lot of new faces out there, a lot of young talent coming in. It's a tough group we got. It's good to see.
Yeah, Bergman, he had a problem the other night. He wasn't able to finish, wasn't he?
No, and he was gonna finish. Maybe even on the podium. He had a good car all night. I don't know what his mechanical woes were, but he was some kind of mechanical woe that he had, maybe with 2 or 3 laps to go.
Well, congratulations again. Thanks for spending time with us. Good luck up there at Knoxville this weekend.
I appreciate you. Hope to see you guys, one of you guys or both of you guys.
Scott will be there. I think I'm going to Belleville this weekend, so Scott will...
Going to go to Belleville?
Yeah.
Well, the National Tour is going to be there at Belleville later in the year, too.
That's a wild place, isn't it?
That's a wild, fast place. I can't remember what year it was, but the National Tour had raced there before, and it's a lightning fast track, really big, and the people around there, they really sport their sprint car racing. I thought it was a great race. I went there for the 305 National or Belleville big 305 race they had there. Drove Steve Hilker's car, and people really support sprint car racing. They'd come in from camping and that kind of thing out there for that. It should be a great event, and there's no doubt that we'll be going really fast.
That's all the 4th of July weekend. I see it's on Thursday, July 3rd, and Friday, July 4th at Belleville.
Well, there we go. There might even be some fireworks out there.
There you go. That's Matt Covington, and speaking of Belleville, tonight USAC Silver Crown on the half mile and USAC Midgets on the short track. We'll see if Justin Grant can double up the weekend, and we'll see if Kaylee Bryson can do it again in the Silver Crown cars. I'm thinking that Justin Grant might win both Midgets and Silver Crown tonight.
Right.
He might do that. Of course, he's going for a triple championship in USAC this year. He's gunning for the Silver Crown, non-wing sprint cars, which he's got to get past Kyle Cummins if he wants to win the sprint car title this year. Cummins is on fire, and the midget championship this year. So we'll see what happens tonight out of Bellevue. Have you decided what you're going to do tonight? It's still open, isn't it?
I'm tossed between Eagle and Knoxville.
Knoxville's got you a place to sleep. You know that.
Well, you're all in at Knoxville.
Right. I got a place to sleep.
That's
up
where
at
I would.
Knoxville.
And you got tickets. So, you know, you got to.
Would you go to Knoxville, Kirk?
If I were you, I'd go to Knoxville. Go up there and see your buddy Matt Covington up there.
Yeah, he talked about that.
Watch him race. So you're all in up there. The Flow Racing will have the coverage of the High Bank Nationals at Eagle.
I can take the truck up there and get the RV and take it down to Lucas Oil Speedway.
Yeah. You need the RV at Lucas Oil Speedway.
Right.
So that's a big weekend. I'm looking forward to next weekend at Lucas Oil Speedway. We're kind of thinking we do a lot of sprint cars on this show, but right now there's a lot of late model action going on. Eagle Raceway tonight got 50,000 win tonight, 75,000 to win a week from tonight at the 33rd annual Show Me 100. So we'll probably be talking a lot about that on Mondays, mostly motorsport show. I'm going to try to reach out to Hudson O'Neill, see if I can get him on the show for Monday. And who else? I don't know. Tune in Monday at 12 noon to find out. We'll be here. So stay safe out there this weekend, folks. Todd, what are you doing? Just kind of kicking back?
Yeah, I'm a little sore and wiped out from moving the kid home from the. My wife's wiped completely out. She's
rest and recovery weekend.
Probably rest and recover. I actually got a guy coming over to work in my yard a little bit because I started sneezing and wheezing when I started working in the yard the other day. So I decided, you know what? I'll just have a kid come in and give him some money. And,
need a little rain out there, don't we?
We're going to get it. It looks like we're calling for some pretty big storms maybe here next week. So,
well, let's not get too big of storms.
No, I think we're going to be fine, though. It looks like weekends are going to be good. We're going to have some storms during the week.
Keep them tornadoes out of here.
Absolutely.
No tornadoes.
Tune in to Mostly Motorsports Monday. It's going to be episode 361.
Yes, sir.
Don't know completely who we're going to get yet. Probably either one. Probably Chase Rodman again because I think they're
Monday at noon.
That's right, noon.
And we're probably not going to do we don't normally do a Mostly Motorsports on the Monday at Memorial Weekend,
nope,
right?
Right.
So
we'll take that weekend off.
Take that week. We'll be back the following Monday.
That's right, with a lot of audio from that one. That's usually we have a lot of it. A lot of stuff from that. That ought to be a good weekend too, and I know for a fact that Kirk's going to be getting some audio. Who are you going to get for our show tomorrow, Kirk?
Well, as I said, I'm still working on it. I'm going to try to shoot for Hudson O'Neill, who won those two non-sanctioned races back-to-back nights at Lucas Oil Speedway back in April. I'm thinking he's going to be a favorite to win the Show Me 100. And so we'll talk Show Me 100 on Monday's show. And maybe if I get Ben Shelton on the show.
Ben Shelton would be a good guest.
He used to be the longtime voice of the Show Me 100 when it was in West Plains many years ago. Now he's on the coverage of Flow Racing live events on the Lucas Oil Late Model Series. And he runs the Flow Racing Night of America Series.
There you go.
And they had some good races here over the last couple of weeks.
Speaking of Jesse Hockett,
we're coming up on the 15-year anniversary of, you had a picture of his car, and of course the Hockett car won last night at US 36 Raceway. Jack Wagner winning in the 77 car last night. And, we always think about Jesse. And it's been 15 years since we lost him.
Hey, he was in the studio the night before he passed away, didn't he?
May 26, 2010. Yeah, it's like when Elvis, you just remember where you were when we heard the news about Jesse, and he still lives, doesn't he, Scott?
He does.
Jesse Hockett is still very much a part of who we are.
He's still a part of who we are, Kirk, and
he impacted a lot of people.
He was he's one of the great sprint car drivers of all time. Would you agree with that?
He was great in non-wing sprints, wing sprints. He was good in a midget. Yeah, he was a well-rounded race car driver. Well, everybody be safe out there this weekend. So we're going to be doing a little traveling here over the next couple of days. Going to be at Sweet Springs tomorrow night. So
you're going to go down to.
We'll talk about it on Monday.
You're going to go down to Sweet Springs on Sunday?
Yes, sir. So we're going to go.
The midgets are going to be down there.
We're going to go west tonight, and then we're going to go east tomorrow.
Right.
So we'll get it all covered.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in to Track Talk. It's all brought to you by Rod End Supply, featuring the POWRide Midwest Lightning Sprints. We can't thank our guests enough. Blackjack Brian Brown, Kaylee Bryson, and Matt Covington as well. And thanks for everybody for tuning in. We'll see you next week right here on Track Talk.
Go harder, faster, stronger with Rod End Supply. Whether you are running industrial, farming equipment, or a race car, Rod End Supply has the assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products that will help you lead the field in performance. Our superior design means our rod ends last longer and perform better, giving you the edge on the track and saving you money. Contact Rod End Supply or order online today at rodendsupply.com. We don't just sell them, we race them. rodendsupply.com. Serving the racing community for over 30 years.